Hello and welcome back to From the Ashtray. Tonight we open up a book so vast and strange it has haunted the imagination of scholars, monks, kings, and ordinary people for nearly 8 centuries. A book so large it weighs more than some children, bound in leather, towering over most medieval manuscripts, a book that contains not only the Old and New Testaments of the Bible but also medicine, magic, history, exorcisms, and a chilling full-page portrait of the devil himself. This is the story of the Codex Gigas, the giant book, better known by its sinister nickname, the Devil's Bible. But is it truly the devil's work, as legend insists, or simply one man's staggering feat of endurance and obsession? To find out, we must travel back to the early 1200s into the darkened halls of a Bohemian monastery, I almost said rhapsody, where history and myth blurred together like smoke. The most famous tale of the Codex Gigas origin begins with a monk condemned to the harshest punishment the monastery could inflict: immurement, being sealed alive within the walls. His crime? The details vary: breaking his vows, committing a grievous sin, perhaps even murder. Facing certain death, the monk begged for mercy. He promised to create a book that would glorify the monastery forever. A book that would contain the entirety of human knowledge. His abbot agreed, on one impossible condition: the book must be finished in a single night. The monk set to work, writing furiously by candlelight. But as midnight passed, he realized no human could finish such a task alone. So he made a pact. He prayed, not to God, but to the devil. In exchange for his soul, the devil would help him complete the book. And by dawn, the tome lay finished, and as a mark of his aid, the devil's portrait was inked into a massive page. That story has been passed down over centuries and gave the book its name, the Devil's Bible. Legend aside, the Codex Gigas is very real. Today it rests in the National Library of Sweden, encased in glass. Scholars, monks, and kings have all described it with awe. The book itself measures nearly 3 feet tall, almost 2 feet wide, and weighs 165 pounds. Turning its pages requires at least 2 people. Its parchment, 310 leaves in total, was made from the skins of approximately 160 donkeys or calves. Inside, the contents are staggering: the full Latin Vulgate Bible, Isidore of Seville's Entomology, a medieval encyclopedia, Josephus' Antiquities of the Jews, medical treatises on diagnoses, disease, and cures, a complete calendar of saints and feast days, spells, incantations, and instructions for exorcisms, and a chronicle of Bohemian history. Ooh, some of those words were difficult. I apologize. But this was no ordinary Bible. It was a library in a single volume, a compendium of nearly everything a medieval scholar, priest, or physician would need. And yet, amidst the Holy Scripture and scholarly texts, there lurks a darkness: the infamous image of the devil. Near the center of the Codex is a single page that freezes all who see it. On the left, the heavenly city of paradise, and on the right, The full-page portrait of Satan himself. The devil is drawn large and dominating, almost childlike in his proportions, yet grotesque in detail. He has clawed feet, sharp talons, a greenish face, 2 large horns, and a forked tongue. His body is naked, except for a loincloth made of ermine, a material associated with royalty, suggesting both power and corruption. But why would a Bible contain such an image? Some argue it was meant as a warning against sin, a vivid reminder of hell's ruler. Others believe it was a monk's personal fascination with the darker side of faith. And still, others say the image was the signature of the devil himself, proof of the unholy bargain that created the book. One of the enduring mysteries of the Codex Gigas is its handwriting. Scholars examining the manuscript have noted that the script appears remarkably consistent from beginning to end. Tongue-tied, I apologize. I have not done this in a minute, as you can tell from posting dates. Anyway, in most medieval manuscripts, even those written by one scribe over years, the handwriting subtly changes as the writer ages, tires, or shifts styles. But in the Codex Gigas, every page, Bible, encyclopedia, medicine, spells, appears to have been written by the same hand with no significant change in style. This consistency suggests one of 2 things. The scribe was impossibly skilled and maintained a steady hand for decades, or, as the legend claims, the book was written in an impossibly short time. But modern experts estimate that writing and illuminating the manuscript would have taken a single monk around 30 years of nonstop work, decades of labor, likely performed in silence, isolation, with no recognition until the end. It is, by any measure, an act of obsession, to say the least. The Codex Gigas was created in the Benedictine monastery of Bodlazais in Bohemia. I apologize, I butchered the hell out of that. Around the year 1229. That monastery was modest, far too small to have commissioned such an immense work. This raises the question: who ordered it and why? Over the centuries, the book changed hands many times. During the Hussite Wars of the 15th century, the manuscript passed into different monastic and royal libraries. By the 16th century, it was in the court of Emperor Rudolf II of Prague, a man obsessed with the occult. Rudolf collected books of magic, alchemy, and science, and the Devil's Bible fit right in. And in 1648, near the end of the 30 Years' War, Swedish troops stormed Prague and seized the Codex Gigas as war booty. Since then, it has remained in Sweden. Today it lies in Stockholm, one of the greatest medieval treasures in the world. Now, like many relics tied to dark legends, the Codex Gigas has long been said to bring misfortune. Stories claim that monasteries housing the book were struck by fires and plagues, owners complained of sleepless nights and oppressive dreams, and some librarians refused to be alone with it after sundown. Can you just imagine a book being that terrifying to somebody, or even, to you, like so terrifying that you refuse to be alone in a room with it after dark? Anyway, even today, whispers persist among visitors that the book carries a presence, that gazing into the devil's portrait too long invites something unseen to gaze back. Modern scholarship cults, though, through much of the superstition, radiocarbon dating places the manuscript firmly in the early 13th century. Paleographic studies confirm it could indeed have been the work of a single scribe, and the devil's image, scholars argue, was not a pact signature but a visual warning, a stark contrast between sin and salvation. Medieval manuscripts often included grotesque illustrations, demons, or apocalyptic imagery. Still, even the most rational historians admit unease at the book's scale and the singular hand behind it. Why would one monk dedicate half a lifetime to creating such a monumental manuscript, blending Holy Scripture with spells and exorcisms? Was it devotion, obsession, or desperation? The Codex Gigas is more than a medieval curiosity. It is a time capsule of the 13th century world, its faith, its fears, its medicine, its history, its superstition. It reveals how medieval minds saw the universe, a delicate balance between God and devil, salvation and damnation, knowledge and magic. It also speaks to something deeply human, the drive to preserve knowledge, to gather every scrap of wisdom to leave behind a monument of the mind. Whether born of divine inspiration or unholy desperation, the Codex Gigas endures as the largest surviving medieval manuscript and perhaps the most mysterious. The Devil's Bible rests today in Stockholm, locked behind glass. Thousands of visitors file past each year, peering into its oversized pages, staring at the chilling portrait of the devil. Some see nothing more than medieval art. Others feel a shiver, as though the monk's bargain still echoes faintly across the centuries. But what do you believe? Was the Codex Gigas a miracle of endurance? Or the devil's own work, bound in leather and inked in blood? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for joining me on this journey into one of history's darkest books. This has been From the Ashtray. Until next time, keep your glass lit, your mind open, and remember, sometimes the heaviest books carry the darkest truths. Thank you for listening.